The judge weighs the sealed cake box like a verdict, then fixes on me. My son won't look up. His own warning detonates between us. Don't let her eat that. I clamp my hands to still the shake. One word now decides whose home becomes a cell. My name is Samuel O'Connor, a 68-year-old retired Navy man living on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon. Mornings start with the pump's cough and the hens' gossip. I move slow not because I'm broken, but because the land listens when you don't rush it. The farm is smaller than the stories my grandfather told, but it's still mine. Boards, field lines, and a kitchen that knows every family argument by the grain of its table. Cake knife I keep out of habit, polished steel, wooden handle, a relic of good years, birthdays with too many candles, a wife who hummed while she iced, a boy who once thought a slice could fix anything. I wipe the blade and slide it back into the crock with the wooden spoons, ritual stored. I've walked the fences and checked the pump twice. The sky is the color of an old sweatshirt. The phone buzzes in my pocket, pushing bank ads and weather warnings. I ignore it. The alert I answer is the water level in the trough. Take Patrick shows up late afternoon without calling, like always. He comes in through the mudroom with a grin he didn't earn and a whiff of cologne that belongs to someone with steadier cash. He picks up an apple and says, "You look good, Dad." I look like a man who's still standing. I say, "What do you need?" Can a son visit his father? He bites the apple, talks around it. I was thinking, you sit on this land and it sits on you. There's a way to make it work harder. Remember how I flipped the house in town? I remember signing title and watching it leave. He winces. We were younger. I've learned. Got people now, real people, partners, ideas. Partners don't live in your voicemail, I say. And ideas don't need my signature. He sets the apple down, lining it with a ring in the tabletop like he owns both. You always take it personal. I'm talking opportunity, a small loan, or a short-term lien on the farm. We upgrade irrigation, lease a corner. No, I don't raise my voice. I don't have to. He laughs like we told the punchline wrong. You still think small. Small fed you, small kept the lights on, I say. I'm done signing bones out of my body. He points toward the hall where the old deeds hang in frames. You really gonna let paper rot on the wall? Paper's supposed to move. Paper moves when the truth moves it. I open the fridge just to have the door between us. Not when you show up hungry. His smile drops. People in town say you've become rigid. They can say it in my kitchen if they bring pie. He studies the pasture like it's a map with an X on it. Just think about it. There's a window. If we miss it, we miss it. I thought you said partners, I say. Why does their window live in my walls? He shrugs. You want me to fail. Admit it. I want you to stop asking me to pay for your favorite lesson. Ease at the knife crock, then back to me. You still keep that old thing out? Tradition, I say. It reminds me to cut only what's mine. For a while we talk about nothing, rain, fence posts, a stray dog he swears he'll take. He pockets the apple he didn't finish. He leaves by the mudroom door, no handshake. His truck coughs up the lane, and the house exhales. At dusk, I wipe the table and rinse the cups. I move the framed farm deed an inch left, so the sun won't fade it. I look at the knife and think of frosting, the kind that sticks to a child's smile in a father's hands. I love that boy past sense. Love isn't a bank. Love is a fence you mend, whether he helps or not. I steady my hands. Anger clears my voice. The phone on the counter starts to buzz. The screen lights the room in a small blue square. Patrick, it says. I watch it rattle against the wood, a tiny thing trying to shake the table. I let it ring until it stops. Panabear shows up at dusk wearing a smile he must have rented. He carries a fat, black folder under his arm like a trophy. Tuts, let's clear the air, he says, stepping past me toward the kitchen table. You and me, fresh start. Air's fine, I say. What's in the folder? Agreements, interest letters, people who believe in me. He fans pages just enough for a flash of logos and bold headers. No signatures, no dates I can see. Short-term capital, Dad. We can leverage the farm, fix the irrigation, lease a strip for events. This land could finally work. The land already works. I pull out a chair, don't sit. I do the same. He laughs softly. That's the problem. You're thinking in chores. I'm talking about scale. He light knock on the screen door interrupts I open it. Two neighbors stand there with a taped-up parcel. Package got dropped at ours, the older one says, peering over my shoulder. Hey, Patrick. Fellas, perfect timing. I was just showing Dad some contracts. He lays the folder on the table, splaying pages for the room like a dealer laying down aces. We're about to take this place from hobby to revenue. The younger neighbor nods at the letterheads. Looks official. I meet his eyes. Looks like paper. Patrick slides a sheet toward me with his fingertip. Read the top line, intent to partner. That's real. They just need a quick proof of commitment on our end. A small lien. Bridge it for 90 days. Discharge doesn't make you honest. I keep my hands at my sides. He smiles wider, voice lifting so the doorway hears. Dad thinks I'm still a kid. He forgets I sold that house in town for a profit. Raggett said, I say, but the profit went to bars and bets. The older neighbor winces into a shrug. Ambition's messy, Sam. Maybe give him a chance. Patrick taps the folder. They're waiting on me, not on you. Don't make me look like I can't close. I pull one chair back with a scrape and set the parcel on it. If your partners are real, they can wait for a meeting without my walls on the table. He leans in, voice low. It's time to think bigger than fences. I keep my tone level. A fence is a promise you make to your future self. I keep mine. He turns to the neighbors. You see, he's stuck. He's still mad about the truck, the cottage, the house. He thinks those were losses. They were steps. Steps to what, I ask? To now. We hold there, the four of us, in a square of kitchen light that knows too much. The fridge hums like a machine trying to keep a secret. Patrick tries a softer approach. I brought a concrete path, 90 days. We lock a small lien, we show commitment, we unlock funding. It's math. It's appetite, I say. He flips a page so a logo faces the door. We have allies. They vouch for me. The younger neighbor nods again. Looks solid, Sam. It looks rehearsed, I say. The only thing that's solid is the ground outside. Patrick spreads his hands like a pastor, about to bless the biscuits. I want to make the family proud. You've had enough of my signatures, I say. His jaw tightens. Why do you always talk like I'm robbing you? Because you haven't brought anything back. He blinks, then performs the wounded smile. All right, show me what would make you comfortable. A number, a term. The term is no. He straightens, voice clipping the edges now. You're risking a once-in-a-decade window. Funny, I say. Your window's open every time you're short. The older neighbor lifts the parcel. We, should let you two. Prick stops him with a palm. No, this is good. Communities invest in vision. He looks at me. Say yes. Let them see we're unified. I turn the parcel over, peel a corner of tape. You want a show. Go to the diner. He stares at me for a beat too long. Then he gathers the pages, but not all of them. One sheet stays half off the stack. An orphan with a watermark and nothing binding it to anything. He tries a last pitch. It's not about money. It's about legacy. Safeguard. It's about control, I say. And control doesn't change hands in my kitchen. He laughs again, but there's metal in it. You'll regret this when I make it without you. You've been making it without me for years, I say. That's the problem. The younger neighbor clears his throat. We'll, catch you later, Patrick. Al, yeah, the older one says, eyes landing on the folder. Looks like you've got momentum. Flushing door whispers shut behind them. Patrick softens for a last try. I'm your son. I know who you are. I slide the folder back toward him. And I know who I am. He leaves the folder on the table anyway, like he forgot it on purpose. He reaches the mudroom, stops, turns. Think about 90 days, he says. That's all. I'll think about dinner. Ayala closes. His boots click down the steps. The truck coughs, then carries his grin down the lane. I stand there a long minute, hearing the house breathe around the empty chair he warmed. Then I set the parcel on the counter and look at the folder he staged. It sits in the center like a trap with paper teeth. My chest tightens, then eases. Pride hurts less than pity. I steady my hands, resolve sets like concrete. I don't touch the folder. I just stare. Let it sit. Let it show me what it's worth. Birthdays used to mean noise. Wrapping paper ripping, candles smoking crooked, my wife humming off key. Tonight the house keeps its voice down. I put plates on the table and set the old cake knife by the centerpiece like a placeholder for the past. Baptized arrives late, phone in one hand, a cake box in the other, smiling with all his teeth. A young woman walks behind him, careful with her purse and her eyes. "This is Kayla," he says as if I should already know. "We thought we'd keep it simple." "Welcome," I tell her. "You like chocolate?" She nods, quick and polite. We do small talk, weather, the dog that isn't mine, the field that will never be condos. I pour coffee for them. I don't take any cake. My numbers don't allow it. And Kyla offers me a soft apology for cutting into a dessert I won't eat. "It's your birthday," she says, and I like her voice. Patrick can't sit still. His phone keeps buzzing, hopping near his elbow. He swipes, murmurs, stands. 2 minutes, he says, stepping onto the porch where the signal's better. Kayla watches the door ease shut. He's just busy. The word does too much work. Busy is a kind of weather, I say. It passes or it ruins the crop. She smiles, which makes me want this moment to stay simple. I reach for the knife. The handle is familiar, worn smooth by years of sticky-fingered celebrations. I center the cake, lift the lid, and press the blade through frosting. The room smells like chocolate in something floral. I cut a small wedge and slide it onto a plate. "Thank you," Kayla says, reaching for the fork. The porch door bangs. Patrick stumbles in, pale. His phone slips out of his hand and clatters under a chair. "Don't let her eat that," he shouts. The sound hardens the room. Kayla freezes with the fork hovering. I look at him. He looks at the cake like it's a gun on the table. "What's wrong?" Kayla asks. Kanga fast swallows. "Nothing, just, He glances at me, at the knife, back to the cake. "It might be too rich." She gets lightheaded. "You brought it," I say. He nods too fast. "Right. And I forgot. I didn't know. Her doctor said..." Kayla sets the fork down. The china makes a small, bright sound. "I'm fine," she says, but her hand is trembling. The house goes quiet enough to hear the fridge breathe. I move without raising my voice. "Kayla, would you mind sitting on the porch for a second? Fresh air. I'll wrap this up." She studies our faces, then steps outside with her plate. The door hushes shut. Patrick tries to laugh. It lands crooked. "Dad, don't be dramatic. It's just, she's pregnant. First trimester. I didn't want anything to. And her to eat what you brought," I say. "I didn't think about it, okay?" He rubs his face. "It was a gesture. Can we not make it a thing?" "It's a thing," I say. I look at the knife. The blade catches the kitchen light, clean, ordinary. My hands know what to do before my mind has caught up. I take a storage bag from the drawer. I lift the knife by the handle with a dry dish towel and slide it in. I angle the plate so the wedge can drop into a second bag without smearing. Plastic whispers. The wall clock above the door ticks into the edge of my eye. I read the minute in my head and keep the numbers off my tongue. "What are you doing?" Patrick asks. "Keeping the night honest." I seal both bags and set them in the fridge behind the milk. I wipe the counter with one stroke and rinse the towel, wringing it until the water runs clear. Patrick moves toward the fridge. I block him with my body, not my hands. "You think I would, JY? "I think you shouted," I say. He lowers his voice. "You're making this ugly." I keep mine flat. Ugly is trying to talk someone out of their own eyes. Kayla peeks back in, cheeks pink from the air. "Everything okay?" Patrick makes a bright sound that wants to be a laugh. "False alarm. We're good, babe. Just food rules." He shoots me a look I've seen since he was 6. It used to beg, now it threatens. "Let's get you some tea," I say to Kayla, "and maybe wrap a slice for later." "No thanks," she says quickly. She puts the fork on the plate like it might break. We finish with small talk that has to pretend the big talk didn't happen. Patrick keeps one hand on his phone and the other on the back of Kayla's chair. When they stand to leave, he squeezes my shoulder too hard. "Take, happy birthday," he says, and it sounds like he's paying a bill. "Drive safe." I say. The porch light throws them down the steps. The gravel answers under their feet. When the door closes, the room stays tense, like a string pulled too tight to hum. I open the fridge. 2 bags sit behind the milk, neat and quiet. The knife looks asleep. The wedge looks harmless. I don't mistake quiet for safe anymore. I take a pen and an index card from the drawer and write 3 words the way I was taught to write coordinates, slow with no shaking. Lab, ETA, 48 hours. Yeah, I tape the card to the fridge where anyone can see it. A simple sign that this house writes things down and keeps them. Patrick's phone buzzes once from the floor where it fell. I leave it there and turn out the kitchen light. I steady my hands. Method replaces shock. You shouted the truth, I say to the empty room. I'll keep it. The ER's fluorescent wash makes everyone look guilty. It flattens color, smooths out faces, turns every expression into a mask. I stand with my back to a vending machine that hums like it's keeping secrets. Patrick paces the hall with his phone to his ear, whispering to someone who's never as helpful as he swears they are. A nurse steps out of the curtain and calls a name that isn't ours. The room exhales and tightens again. I keep an old envelope in my hand and a pen in my pocket. Names, times, short phrases, nothing more than what I can swear to. I printed, "Do not throw away," across the flap the way we used to mark gear at sea. A doctor finally appears, shoes quiet, voice trained to hold bad news without spilling. "She's stable," he says. "There's been a loss. We've ordered a tox screen as a precaution." Back in 2 strides. "A loss?" His voice cracks on the second word like a step on rotten wood. The doctor keeps it level. "I'm sorry, we're moving her to observation." "Caused it?" Patrick asks too quickly. "We don't know yet." The doctor glances at me, at Patrick, back at his chart. "We'll speak to her when she's more comfortable." Patrick points toward the curtain bay. "I need to see her." "In a bit," the doctor says. He nods once and moves on. I write 3 words on the envelope. Doctor said stable. I add the time off the wall clock by the nurse's station without saying it out loud. I don't write the loss. I don't need to see it in my own hand. Patrick rubs his face, then looks at me like I invented gravity. "We shouldn't have had cake," he says. "She's sensitive. Her doctor. There are rules." "You brought it," I say. "It was your birthday." He lowers his voice. "Don't make this about me." "You shouted," I say. He shakes his head hard enough to make his hair fall wrong. "Because she shouldn't eat rich stuff? Because she's pregnant? That's on me? I told you she gets lightheaded." "Lightheaded isn't the word you used." He snorts. "What is this? You going to build a case in the hallway?" "I'm going to remember the night straight," I say. "That's all." He steps closer. "If you start telling people if you even hint, unresolved, write what happened and hand it to people whose job is reading," I say. "You write whatever you like." He stares past me to the he can still bargain with. The phone in his hand lights up. He kills the call without looking. "Patrick." The voice comes from my left, low and sharp. Melissa stands there in the coat she always hated, arms folded tight. She doesn't look at me yet. Her eyes are on him, like he owes her change. He nearly smiles. "Melissa, not now," says. "You dragged that girl into your mess. You drag everyone." He rolls his eyes. "You don't know anything about tonight." "Discharged? I know enough," she says. "I knew 3 years ago when you sold your father's house and told me you had a plan. I knew when the plan was a bar tab and some men you shouldn't owe." He tilts his head toward me. "See, this is what you've done. You've turned everyone against me." "I didn't turn anyone," I say. "The world rotates on its own." He laughs once, no humor in it. "You think you're so clean. You think paper makes you right." "Dismissing doesn't make me anything," I say. "It makes the night less foggy." Melissa steps closer to him. "You told me you were done borrowing. You promised. Then you called last week needing a bridge." She turns to me finally, and her face softens half a shade. "He never calls until he needs a bridge." "What do you want me to say?" Patrick asks. "That I'm sorry? Fine. I'm sorry. I didn't think it through. I wanted to bring cake. I wanted to. He stops himself, shakes his head, tries a different angle. Dad, if you talk to the wrong people, they'll twist it. You'll ruin my life over a misunderstanding. Financially, your life doesn't fit in my mouth, I say. It fits in your choices. He leans in, lowers his voice. Do not tell anyone I brought something bad into your house. Then hope it wasn't, I say. He grinds his teeth, backs off, checks his phone like there's a message in there that can rewrite the last 2 hours. There isn't. A nurse draws the curtain back a hand's width and asks for family. Patrick moves. Melissa moves faster. They both stop, caught in the same word. Go, I say to Melissa. You know how to speak to pain better than I do. She nods and slips inside. I sit. The chair bites my back in exactly the way cheap chairs do. I open the envelope and add, nurse asks for family and the time. My pen leaves a tiny ridge in the paper that my thumb can feel. It steadies me more than anything else tonight. Patrick sits across from me, elbows on knees. He doesn't look up. This is getting out of hand, he says. It started in your hand, I say. He stares at the floor. You're going to call the police, aren't you? I'm going to finish the night, then I'm going to do what the card on my fridge says. What card? Lab in 48 hours, I say. He shakes his head like the idea itself is rude. You'll embarrass me. I won't have to, I say. He barks a short laugh. You think you're clever. I think I'm tired, I say, and that tired men should write things down. He stands again, paces to the end of the corridor, turns, paces back. He's a man on a boat he swore would never leak. Melissa steps out and closes the curtain behind her. Her voice is quieter now, not because she's calmer, but because she's decided what to spend her breath on. She's asking for her mother, she says. They'll keep her a while. Too fast, did you tell her I'm here? She knows you're here, Melissa says. She also knows your debts don't leave the room, just because you do. He's don't st anything, she says. I'm concluding. She turns to me and I see the wear that comes from years of being told the storm will pass while bailing with both hands. Samuel, she says, you need to write down what you saw tonight, names, times. Don't trust your memory because you're kind. Kindness lies to keep itself warm. I'm already writing, I say, lifting the envelope. Good, she says, then lower for me alone. You don't know the half of it. I nod, not because I doubt her, but because I recognize the shape of the rest. Receipts with his smile on them, texts that start sweet and end mean, loans that call themselves gifts until interest walked in the door. Patrick's phone lights her. The ER hums. Somewhere a cart squeaks across tile. I put my pen away and fold the envelope once, then twice. My hands are steady. My voice will be too. Morning light makes last night's lies look thin. The porch boards give under my boots like they remember other arguments. I set 2 mugs down, black coffee breathing steam into the cool air, and wait for Jack. He comes up the steps with his cap in his hands, like a man walking into a church he doesn't attend. I don't want trouble, he says. You'll bring your voice, in 5 minutes, I say. Then you'll go home to less trouble than you think. We sit. He takes a sip and watches the pasture as if the grass might testify first. I heard him, he says finally. I was at the fence. He yelled, don't let her eat that, clear as a bell. Say it once more, I ask, slow. He does, slower, the words heavier. The dog 2 houses over barks once and gives up. I open the door with my shoulder and wave him inside. The cooler waits by the fridge. When I lift the lid, the bagged knife fogs the plastic for a second, like it just breathed. I close it again and set a yellow legal pad on the table. I'm not asking for a novel, I tell him, just the one line you heard, and that you were standing at the fence when you heard it. He nods, pen hovering. His phone buzzes against the table. He looks down and goes still. Problem? I ask. He turns the screen toward me, a text from his wife. Stay out of it, please. His thumb hesitates over the reply. She thinks this will make enemies. It might, I say. Truth sometimes does. He sets the phone face down and exhales. All right. He writes the line. I heard Patrick O'Connor yell, don't let her eat that. Then the spot, at the fence by Samuel's Lane. He signs his name like a man signing for a package that isn't his, but needs delivering. I slide the page to the edge where the kitchen light pools. The wall clock rides the edge of the frame when I take a single photo. I don't say the time. I don't say any numbers at all. "You gonna take this downtown?" he asks. "Not yet." I open a drawer, pull out an accordion folder that still smells like paper store. "I'll file it with the rest when it's time." I tuck the sign sheet into a clear sleeve. The sound of plastic sealing like a promise clicks shut. Jack clears his throat. "He's your boy." "Disillusion," I say. "And he's also the man who shouted that line." He nods once, jaw tight. "I'll say it the same if anyone asks." "They will," I say. "In a room where people write things down." We walk back to the porch. A pickup slows at the top of the lane, lingers, then rolls on. Jack watches the dust hang like a choice. "He's gonna be mad at me," he says. "He'll be mad at me first," I say. He half smiles. Privilege of fatherhood. The phone in my pocket starts to buzz. Patrick's name flashes across the screen like a dare. I let it run another ring, then another. Jack leans on the rail. "You gonna answer?" I've been answering him for 30 years. I'm practicing silence. He snorts, then sobers. "You sure about this, Sam?" "I'm sure I want it written." I look at the kitchen through the open door. The fridge card reads, Lab ETA, a Pulitney 36 hours, where I circled it before he arrived. I'm sure I don't want to remember this week by arguing with my memory. He pushes his cap back. "If this goes to court, I'll come. Powerless. You'll be asked to read one sentence. Keep it clean, keep it short." That much I can do. He shakes hands and he heads down the steps. The dog barks twice like a period at the end of a paragraph. My phone buzzes again. Voicemail now. I set the sign sheet back on the table long enough to write "photo taken" in my ledger. Then I slide it into the folder with the careful movements I used to use on live wires. I don't press play. A text lands from Patrick. "Stop talking to neighbors. You're making this worse." Unfor words and leave it at that. I'm not whispering, I'm writing. For a moment, the house is so quiet I can hear the ink dry. Heart steady, I breathe. Let it be something that holds. Take the phone, rings with panic priced into it. Unknown number. I step onto the porch, thumb the green circle. "Samuel?" a man asks, too friendly. "Who's calling?" "Name's Ray. I help folks clean up misunderstandings before they get formal." Wind chimes tap against each other like teeth. "Who's misunderstanding, Ray?" "A mutual friend's. Young guy, big ideas. He's worried you'll talk to the wrong ears. I can make the worry go away for both of you." "Both of us?" I say. "Families, pride, I'm offering discretion." He lowers his voice. "A short-term settlement. Cash, not paper." "I don't buy quiet," I say. He sighs like he's been patient all day. "Well, the other way costs more. Late fees have a way of growing legs." I write things down, I say. Legs trip over dates. Silence. Then a soft chuckle that doesn't reach his breath. "I'll check back tomorrow." "Not owned," I say, and hang up. I log Ray called in my ledger with a notch of the pen. Inside, the fridge card waits with the circle I drew this morning over lab, due today. I rest my hand on the drawer where the cooler sits. I don't open it. Fear wants me to bargain. Resolve tells me to wait. Gravel pops at the lane. Patrick's truck rolls up like a problem rehearsed. He doesn't kill the engine until he's halfway to the steps. Then he swings out and takes the porch 2 at a time. "We need to talk," he says. "We usually do," I say. He holds up both hands like a referee who picked a side. "I can fix last night. I talk to people. It's a mess, but it doesn't have to be a disaster." "Who did you talk to?" I ask. "Besides men named Ray?" He blinks. A flicker runs through his eyes and is gone. "I'm trying to help you, Dad. Help us." "My kitchen," I say. "Now you're shouting about solutions." Misunderstood his voice but tightens it. "I need $5,000 today. Bridge. We make some calls, smooth it out, tell Kayla it was her diet and stress. Nobody needs to hear about cake. $5,000 buys you silence for a day," I say. "Truth doesn't take cash." He steps closer, palms open. "You want to be right so bad, you'll blow up your family?" "I want to be honest so bad," I say. "I'll survive the blast." His smile peels at the edges. "Cash fixes things, or a lien, 90 days. I lined it up, real partners. We sloppily handled last night, fine. But we don't set the house on fire to prove who left the stove on. Stop talking to me like a proposal, I say. Talk to me like a son. Unauthorized hails through his nose. I'm scared, all right? They're calling, he swallows. They don't like delays. He truth. He jabs a finger toward the yard. You're going to the police, aren't you? I'm going to finish the steps I started, I say. Dad, listen to me. The plea is real for one breath. Don't make it formal. Your story down, Patrick. I prefer mine stamped. He laughs without humor. You're not built for this. I was built at sea, I say, in bad weather. He tries another angle. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry for last night. I panicked. I shouldn't have yelled. Happy? Unsure. A transaction, I say. A record. He lifts his hands as if there's a crowd to see. You're the only man I know who would rather hold paper than his son. I've held you for 30 years, I say quietly. Now I'm holding the line. Peacefully, he steps down off the porch and looks up at me like he can sell gravity a different rule. $5,000. Today. I'll sign whatever you want to promise it's temporary. The term is no. His jaw ticks. Then when this gets ugly, it's on you. You're confusing ugly with accurate. He glances back at the truck. The tough part of him walks to the door. The tired part stays on the porch. They might come by, he says. If they do, here, I say, they'll find the truth first. We hang there while the wind tugs the chimes and the last light folds itself into the trees. He lifts a hand as if to touch the railing, then drops it like it burned. Lab due today, I say toward the kitchen without turning. You know what that means, add once. It means you're set on ruining me. It means the night stops being a story and starts being evidence. He takes the steps backward, watching me like I might flinch. I don't. He gets in the truck, slams the door, then sits without starting it, knuckles on the wheel. The engine finally turns over and he pulls away, gravel cracking under the tires, the sound of a choice made badly. Inside, I write, Patrick here. Demanded $5,000 and the time. I leave a blank line under it like room for a better decision he didn't make. Buckley buzzes in my pocket, a text. You'll regret this. Forging Green waits for my reply. I take a screenshot, let the image save, and put the phone face down on the table. I don't type a word. An envelope can weigh more than a truck. I set it on the kitchen table and wipe my hands on a dish towel that's earned the right to witness things. Jack stands by the door like a man at parade rest, cap tucked into his elbow. You sure? He asks. I asked for facts, I say. They came in the mail. Presumption so he can see without crowding. The envelope's seal catches the light. I place it so he can watch my hands, not imagine them. I glance once at the window. Headlights sweep the far fence and idle. The engine's thrum presses through the wall like a shove. Want me to say it? Jack asks. Say it, I answer. Seal's unbroken, he says, and the room records him. I slide a butter knife under the flap, then stop, switch to my thumbnail. No metal, no argument. The paper parts with a soft sigh. I ease the report free and read until the line that matters sits still in my head. Jack studies my face. Well? It's there, I say. Not just sugar. Nod once, doesn't dir? I lay the first page flat, then the second. The engine outside revs a cheap drum roll. I don't go to the window. You want my initials? Jack asks. Here, I say, tapping the corner, just that you saw me open it sealed. Unmistaked JB. Small and steady, I slide the pages into a clear sleeve, press the strip shut, and stack the sleeve atop a folder that already knows its purpose. I take one photo, paper and sleeve, Jack and frame, nothing else, and put the phone away without checking it. From the porch, a key rattles uselessly in my lock, just to make a sound. Expecting company? Jack asks. Some people dance when they don't get picked, I say. I open the fridge and pull a blank card from the magnet clip. The knife lies in its bag behind the milk, quiet as a kept promise. I let my eyes touch it and move on. Flashlight clears his throat. You want me to stick around? No, I say. I want you to go home and tell your wife you did the right thing before it got hard. He looks at the window, then at me. You gonna call tonight? Blackmail, I say. 9 sharp. I write police filing. Monday, 9 a.m. on the card and stick it to the fridge where yesterday's lab ETA lived. Different ink, same hand. I press the magnet down until it clicks. The engine coughs. Footsteps cross the porch. A knuckle raps the door twice. Dad, Patrick calls through wood. You reading bedtime stories in there? Jack's eyes flick to mine. I shake my head. He makes himself smaller and slips toward the back hall. I open the door partway. Patrick stands too close, phone in one hand, a smile he borrowed in the other. Evening, I say. You get anything good? He cranes his neck, like the house will answer. Mail, I say. He leans against the jamb, casual like a cat. You know, once you call the cops, you can't take it back. He taps his phone. People have long memories. Louder if you need to, I say. The room hears better when I'm not talking. He blinks slow. The smile flakes. You're making mistakes. I'm making records, I say, and close the door to the width of my boot. He breathes through his nose, a bull who knows the fence is real. Monday's a bad day to burn bridges. Bridges don't burn, I say. They collapse when you stop maintaining them. He laughs once, mean old man. Not if I see you first, I say, and latch the chain. His footsteps scrape the boards. The engine fades down the lane. Jack steps back into the kitchen from the hall. He going to do something tonight? He already did, I say, and point at the sleeve. We did more. I take a small sticky note and write 3 words. Change starts now. I lay it over the plastic like a lid and breathe. Paper can be colder than steel. Tonight I need both. Balloon's lobby smells like toner and old coffee, truth getting ready to be printed. I set the folder on the counter and wait while the intake officer finishes a call about a barking dog with the tone of a man who has handled worse. Name, he asks. Samuel O'Connor. I slide the folder across. I'm filing a report. Unwilling it, glances at the clear sleeves, the labels. You bring the items. I lift the small cooler onto the counter. Bagged at home, kept cold. No one else handled them. He clicks his pen. Knife and cake? Yes. Healer like he's measuring steadiness, not height. Did you bag the knife right away? Before I let my hands shake, I say. He nods once. Good answer. He raises his voice toward the back. Evidence tag on 1 knife, 1 food item. A younger officer appears with a camera and a tray. The older one's lanyard scuffs the counter as he leans in. We'll photograph the bags as they are. You'll get a receipt with a case number. Reckless, he takes my statement. Short answers, no stories. Who was present when the statement line was said? My neighbor, Jack. He signed a note yesterday morning. Bring it in the sleeve. I tap the tab and stop my hand from tapping twice. He pages through, careful not to remove anything unless necessary. You know we don't need fancy, just clean leave, I say on a form, then gestures to the younger officer who photographs the outside of each bag, tags them, and carries the tray away like cake for a different kind of party. The printer coughs. The officer stamps the top of a half sheet and slides it toward me. This is your intake receipt. Keep it somewhere that won't get lost. Not the numbers, not nature date. I let my eyes land on the square ink and then lift away. Thank you. He keeps his voice low. We'll schedule you with the detective. Don't discuss the case with the other party. Unleashed, I've been practicing silence, I say. Take, he says, and writes on a small appointment card. Wednesday, 10:30. He underlines it once with a blunt pencil. Bring your clarity. I put the receipt in the folder, the card in my pocket. The lobby door opens as I step out. A man holds it from the other side, a second too long, eyes flicking from my face to the folder and back. He doesn't come in. He doesn't have to. I walk past him slow enough to make the folder feel heavier than it is. Ellen's place smells like lemon cleaner in a long week. She opens the door but doesn't open her shoulders. You filed? She asks. I did. She bites her lip. I don't want to be dragged into a war. It's not a war, I say. It's a record. She lets me in and closes the door with the soft click of someone trying not to wake regret. We sit at a table that's smaller than mine, but more orderly. She pulls a manila folder from the drawer, the top labeled in a careful hand. I kept these because I was tired of being told I imagined them. Screenshots, I say, flipping once and stopping. Dates, messages that start with babe and end with you owe me. Receipts with amounts that look like hope when you squint and like interest when you don't. I can print anything you need, she says. I won't sit in the same room as him unless I have to. Bang, you may have to, I say. But not yet. Today I just need to note what exists. I close the folder and slide it back an inch toward her. Keep originals. When the ADA calls, we'll bring copies. She studies me. You always this calm? I wasn't last night, I say. I am when I write. He's going to hate this. He'll hate what he did more. Wraps a rubber band around her folder and drops it back into the drawer, like she's putting a period at the end of a long sentence. Tell the detective I'm available. I want this finished. I will. Back outside, the sky has that Monday glare that makes every errand honest. I sit in the truck and take the appointment card from my pocket. Detective Wend, 10:30 a.m. I say it once in my head to set the hook. Then I drive home slow enough that the card stays put. At the kitchen table, I lay the intake receipt on top of the stack and cover it with a sticky note. Keep. I stick the appointment card to the fridge beside police filing. Monday, 9 a.m. The house looks back at me with dates where the ghosts used to be. It felt like handing my fear to a ledger that won't forget me. Thieves think they're quiet. Houses hear better after midnight. A single gray hair across the jamb, light as air, strong enough to speak when it breaks. The camera and charger blinks once behind the sugar canister, its angle catching the back door and a slice of fridge where the detective when 10:30 a.m. card is pinned, and the knife's tag photo sits like a small, cold portrait. I kill the kitchen light and let the house look empty. In the office off the mudroom, I sit with the laptop lid low and my breath lower. The knob turns. Slow. Patient. A metal thought against metal. The hair goes slack, then snaps with a sound only my nerves hear. The knob stops. A shadow leans into the glass and takes itself back. Gravel whispers, then stillness closes over the porch like a lid. I don't move for 10 full counts. Then I lift the lid and pull the clip. 5 seconds in, the knob twitches. 8 seconds, the silhouette. 12, the retreat. Clean. No heroics, just intent. I open my email, type the detective's address, attach the file. Subject line, door attempt, time-stamped clip. I do not narrate. Men who ramble in emails are men who doubt. I write one sentence. Attempted entry captured from 23:58 to 23:59. Sending for record. Merca's clock on the office shelf rolls to 0600 in the corner of my screen as I hit send. One visible mark of time. Enough. My phone buzzes on the desk. Unknown number. First. You awake, old man? I ignore it. The message deletes its own bravery within a minute. A second text lands, this one with a name. Patrick. Open the door next time. I stare at the words until the phone dims. Then I type a reply and never send it. The house is unsent line in drafts and breathe. I let fear walk by my window and kept breathing. The email whooshes away, the cursor blinks. The kitchen waits for dawn without asking for it. I close the laptop and make a note in my ledger. Clip sent, door tested, hair broken. The phone buzzes again, same message, new timestamp. Open the door next time. I set the phone face down and let it talk to wood. On the detective's whiteboard, 3 words. Cake, tox, access. Clings the last one twice, then underlines the first. The clip you sent, he says, tapping the table, plus the lab. We're close. We need procurement. I don't guess, I say. I'll tell you what I saw, what I heard, and what I have. He nods. Good. Stay in the verbs. He flips a case memo. For a blink, I catch the knife photo clipped on top. Then it's gone under his palm. Walk me through the birthday. Short. Then the door attempt. Time windows. Marines. I give him the beats like coordinates. The shout, the bagging, the fridge card. Then the hair snap and the silhouette. He writes with a dull pencil that sounds like a cricket. Bakery? He asks. Box had their color. He brought it. I didn't see the purchase. We'll fix that. He stands. Let's go. Buffled. The bakery is all glass and aprons. A clean smell trying to outbake the city. The manager meets us with a smile that's rehearsed for birthdays, not detectives. The detective shows his badge without showing teeth. We're confirming an order and pickup, he says. Dates last week, name, use, phone payment. She glances at me, then at the badge again. We take privacy seriously. 2, he says, especially when people get sick. Her smile flickers. Come to the office. We pass trays of cupcakes that look like they'd never bury a secret. In the back, she opens a binder, then a screen. We do pre-orders online, she says, fingers moving. Pickup logged at the counter. He leans, casual but exact. Search by last Wednesday, late afternoon. She scrolls, then stops, her eyes tighten the smallest degree. There's an order for a 12-inch chocolate celebration, paid by card, pickup window 5 to 6 p.m. He asks. She hesitates. O'Connor. First name? Patrick. Reluctant. Who signed for pickup? She taps. A tiny image of a stylus squiggle appears. We don't verify IDs if the order number matches, she says quickly. It's cake. He almost smiles. Understood. Can you print the order confirmation and pickup record? I can, she says, but I don't want a scene. Raging known, he says. The printer spits white. He lays the page on a small rubber pad and reaches for the stamp. It lands with a soft thunk, ink soaking into fibers. One proof cue, enough to move the day. He slides the page into a sleeve. Thank you, he says. You run a fine shop. Allergies, the air tastes like rain. He walks me to my truck. Procurement plus access, he says, ticking the air with 2 fingers. That's probable cause. Sent someone else for the pickup, I say. Whoever did knew my door better than I do. He half turns, considering. Fair line, he says. Save it. What now? I ask. Warrant application, he says. Judge should see it fast. He looks at his watch but doesn't say the time. We'll move within the window. He flips his notebook and writes a single block letter on a sticky. Warrant, 48 hours. He sticks it to the inside cover of the case file, closes it like a promise. Stay steady, don't engage. My family keeps texting, I say. Don't engage, he repeats, softer. On the drive home, my hands remember the wheel without thinking. The truth clicked like a bolt sliding home. The lane looks clear, until it doesn't. At the porch, a note waits face up on the top step in big blocked letters. Stop feeding them. Take the tongs from the grill and lift it into a freezer bag without letting the paper touch my skin. No numbers, no dance, just gravity and plastic. I set the bag on the counter and breathe through my teeth until my shoulders stop trying to live somewhere else. The phone buzzes. Patrick. You at the bakery with cops now, big man? I type nothing. The folder on my table is heavier than the phone and smarter. Say I put the bag note in the drawer with the other things I don't want to name yet, and I write a single line in my ledger. Bakery confirmed, receipt stamped, porch note bagged. Then I close the book and look at the fridge. The card reads what the detective wrote in my bones. Warrant application, 48 hours. The DA bullpen smells like copier heat, justice warmed over, then served. An assistant in a blazer that could file its own motions leads me to a glassed-in room where the ADA waits with a stack already squared to the table's edge. Mr. O'Connor? She doesn't offer her first name. Sit. Unkey. I sit. She flips the cover file. For a beat, the knife photo rides on top, then vanishes into the stack. Give me what matters, she says, no color. Birthday at my house, I say. My son brought the cake. He shouted, "Don't let her eat that," when his wife lifted the fork. I bagged the knife in a slice. Lab confirmed toxin. Neighbors signed a line saying he heard the shout. Camera caught a late-night knob test. Detective obtained bakery confirmation. She watches my mouth the way a safecracker listens to tumblers. Chain on the knife? Bagged immediately. Home logged. Police tagged Monday morning. Intake receipt here. I touch the folder without sliding it. Kiss slice? Ed with the knife. Camera clip. Identity? Silhouette and timing. Ties to my son's texts. Tone, proximity. I keep my face dry. He lives on the buzz. Pedestrian, she doesn't smile. Any contact since you filed? He's tried. I've practiced silence. Good. She opens a legal pad. Now, contamination. Defense will say home bagging invites doubt. I wrote the time before I let my hands shake, I say. I didn't open anything after it was sealed. I handed the bags to the intake officer, who photographed them sealed. She nods, small. Replica testing? Detective planned it, I say. I'll stand still when he needs me to. She ticks her pencil. Motive? Debt, I say. Pattern of financial pressure documented by his ex-wife, Ellen. Personal animus? I love my son, I say. Loving someone doesn't make the night lie. But finally last to decide I'm not playing to the room. The copier out in the bullpen coughs. A phone rings twice and gives up. You've kept yourself out of speculation, she says. That helps me. Here's how this goes. We open a case, align with the detective, and set a charging clock. You do not litigate in the hallway. You do not feed rumor mills. I brought facts, not fireworks, I say. That line will get misused, she says, almost kind. Say less outside. Be precise inside. She takes a half sheet from a stack, presses a stamp that funks like a small door closing, and slides the sheet to me. This opens intake on our side. You'll get a call if we need a supplemental. I don't read the numbers. I let the ink square exist and lift my eyes. Understood. I say that. She stands. I do too. One more thing, Mr. O'Connor. Her voice lowers, not for secrecy, but for weight. If this becomes public, your restraint will be your shield. Keep it. The room took my breath and gave me backbone, I say. I can keep both. She almost smiles this time. Good afternoon. The bullpen door releases a breath of printer heat into the corridor. I tuck the stamped intake into my folder and step into the elevator lobby. Mr. O'Connor, a woman in a denim jacket with a press badge pinned just high enough to be seen, angles a mic toward me. A photographer beside her warms a camera like a car in winter. Sir, for the community, to calm fears, did you bring a poison cake into your own home? I let the question sit on the tile. Elevator dings. People glance, smell story, keep moving. Not fireworks, I say slower and lower than I said it inside. The rest is for rooms with stamps. Forging is the accused your son? She presses. I don't answer that. The camera pops, the flash tastes like tin, the phone in my pocket vibrates. You're talking to press about me? You're ruining your own blood. I type nothing. I put my back to a pillar and breathe once. Backbone back in my chest where it belongs. Another text. Answer me. I slide the phone away and walk. The corridor opens to a glass foyer where a security guard has taped a paper to the inside of the exit door in tidy block letters. Charging. Monday, 10 a.m. Someone wanted it big enough for the world to learn to count again. I stop, memorize the shape of the letters, and keep my fingers off my camera. One proof cue belongs at a time. Outside, the air feels honest. I steady my hands, anger clears my voice. I don't text back. Notaries don't care about family. They care about signatures that hold. The lobby smells like stamp ink and carpet cleaner. Ellen sits beside me with a folder on her knees and a jaw that has learned to lock without showing it. The notary calls us in with a bell that says, "This is just another Tuesday." IDs, she says. We present them. She copies names to a ledger with tiny, patient strokes, then sets Ellen's affidavit in the center of the desk. The paper is clean, 3 short paragraphs that don't try to teach, just state. You swear the contents are true, the notary asks. I do, Ellen says steady. Radioactive. The pen glides. The line becomes her name. The notary lifts the seal and presses down. The desk gives a soft thup, and the circle blooms in ink. I feel it land in my chest like a small gavel. The room gets quieter around the mark. The notary slides the top copy back. Keep this for your records. She is a gate, not a witness. She opens, she closes. No commentary. Back in the lobby, a man at the brochure rack mutters to no one. People weaponize paper. Ellen stiffens half a degree. I keep my voice plain. Paper keeps stories from moving the goalposts. He shrugs into his coat and leaves, taking his opinion with him. The bell jingles like a door, changing its mind. Outside, Ellen exhales. He'll call me names, she says. He always does when I tell the truth. Knowles, I say, they're noise. Copies of 2 key receipts clipped behind the affidavit. These show dates, she says, and the second shows the line he crossed. I kept them for me. Now they're for the record. I won't wave them around, I say. They land when they should. She looks at me sidelong. You learned restraint late. Is still on time, I say. Her phone buzzes. She checks. Scoffs. He wants to meet. Says we can clear the air. She pockets it without replying. Air's fine. We drive to my place in separate cars because that's how boundaries drive. In the kitchen, I slide the sworn statement into a sleeve and set it atop the stack that has learned to breathe under weight. I don't name codes. I don't recite numbers. I let the seal be the only circle that matters today. Ellen stands at the sink, staring past the window at the fence posts that treat wind like a rumor. You sure you want me in the room when this goes formal? She asks. You don't have to sit near him, I say. You just have to sit near the truth. He'll smear me, she says. He'll say bitter X. He'll say I'm out to ruin him. Unrestricted isn't an X, I say. It doesn't date anyone. It shows up and sits down. She almost smiles. That's not bad. It's not a line, I say. It's a reminder. We drink coffee we don't need. We don't touch the cooler. The house keeps its voice down. Spherical gathers her things. The phone on the counter thrums with a blocked number. I let it run to voicemail. A woman's brisk voice lands. This is a courtesy call from defense. We have concerns about alleged contamination of home-held items and bias from an embittered former spouse. We invite a conversation. Ellen rolls her eyes. There it is. Disdain, I'll converse in rooms with stamps, I say. She nods, squeezes my arm. I'll be there. When she leaves, the kitchen grows larger and colder, in the way rooms do when they've done their job. I pull a fresh card from the magnet clip and write, Arraignment, Tuesday, 9 a.m. The letters stand up straight. I pin it next to the detective's appointment. I don't return the call. The clock over the door ticks, unconcerned with anyone's story. Unchecked Teddy my hands. The seal's thud is still in my chest. Exactly where it belongs. Rumors travel faster than trucks. Today they beat Patrick to my porch. By noon, the diner version arrives. Bitter father frames hardworking son. By 2, it's the clinic version. Old man with diabetes confused, bags dessert like a crime. By 4, a woman I've known 20 years leaves a flyer in my mailbox without meeting my eyes. Keep family disputes private, it says in patriotic font, unsigned. Ty set the flyer on the counter like a wet rag and let it drip its meaning into the trash. Phones chirp. A clip of me in the courthouse corridor, 6 seconds. I brought facts, not fireworks, shows up on a neighborhood page with a caption that turns the sentence inside out. The comments try to measure my love with a teaspoon. Not recognized parks sideways at the top of my lane. The driver door opens slow. Caldwell, one of Patrick's barstool saints, steps out in a jacket that thinks it's a law degree. He takes the porch like it's a stage. Afternoon, Mr. O'Connor. Caldwell. He smiles like we're swapping fishing stories. Whole town's buzzing. Thought I'd help cool it down. Provoke can handle its own weather. When a father drags his son into a storm, he leans on the rail. You know how this looks, right? You, with your documents, your little fan club, people are saying you're not well. To hear you, then hear this, he says, lowering his voice so the word carries farther. You put that boy in a box and folks won't forgive you. They won't buy your eggs. They won't plow your lane when it snows. Upright. Is that a promise or a forecast? It's friendship, he says. Take your foot off the gas. Tell the DA you overreacted. Say it was a misunderstanding. Rich cake, nerves, the usual. Rich cake, I say. You practice that line in the mirror? He chuckles. You're tough. Tough gets lonely. Gravel crunches and Jack walks up from the fence, hands out of his pockets like he's already in church. He nods at me, then at Caldwell. You lost? Caldwell doesn't turn. Just neighborly advice. Jack's jaw moves once. Advice is cheaper than courage. Aces him. You really want to be the guy who helps a man sink his own blood? I want to be the guy who tells the truth once and keeps telling it, Jack says. Truth, Caldwell snorts, is what a room decides it is. Good-headed to rooms. Caldwell takes a half step toward me, palms open. Sam, come on. We all know you're proud. Maybe you misheard. Maybe you panic. Maybe you're... Shame tries to borrow my mouth, I say. I keep it shut. He blinks. The porch light isn't on, but the day's already dim enough to show his eyes working. You love that boy, he says softer. So prove it. Don't testify. The phone in my pocket buzzes. Patrick, stop talking to people. You're framing your own son. A second message rides on its bumper. Recant, or we go scorched earth. Dad. I put the phone face down on the rail. Caldwell watches it like it's a fuse. Tell him you'll back off, Caldwell says. Tell the witness here to reconsider. Community stays whole. Everybody wins. Jack shifts his weight. He looks at me, then out toward the road where two neighbors have stopped beside their mailboxes, working hard at pretending they're not listening. Caldwell leans closer. Be the bigger man. Say you were confused. Your numbers, your age, people will buy it. If truth feels like a weapon, I say, stop standing in front of it. His smile cracks. You think a jury's going to want to lock up a son because his old man got clever with baggies? I think rooms with stamps don't care about your metaphors. He steps back, tries a different angle. Jack, buddy, you don't want this smoke. You've got a wife, a mortgage, a lawn that needs neighbors, not enemies. You really gonna sit in a witness chair over a family spat? Jack breathes out, long. For a second, his shoulders dip like he might fold. Then he straightens until he's the same height he woke up. He speaks to the street, not to Caldwell. I heard him yell, Jack says, voice steady, and I'll say it under oath. Across the road twitches, another car slows, then coasts on. The porch boards under our feet decide to remember this moment. Caldwell laughs, but it's a sound that keeps checking its own exit. You boys want a war. Nobody wants a war, I say. We want a record. He points at me, the finger of a man who's used to pointing at tabs. You'll be sorry. Get off my steps, I say. He looks like he's going to spit, then thinks better of letting the wind own his mouth. He clomps down the stairs and turns his back like we're not worth another breath. At the top of the lane, he stops and shouts toward the mailboxes. Man senile, he's weaponizing paper. The word bounces off my siding and dies in the grass. Jack doesn't move until the truck door slams and the engine fades. Then he exhales. That going to get worse. It's supposed to, I say. He howls. You want me to stick around tonight? I want you to eat dinner with your wife and sleep in your own bed, I say. You did your part. The rest is rooms. He looks at my pocket. You going to call him back? I've been talking to him my whole life, I say. He can listen to silence for a change. Jack starts down the steps, then stops and turns to the street again. For anyone who didn't hear me, he says louder, I'll say it under oath. The blinds shift across the way. A door opens and shuts. The lane murmurs like it's reading its own captions. Inside, the kitchen is a cooler air. In the dim, the fridge throws back a ghosted shape of the bag knife, a shadow of a shadow behind the milk. Proof can be quiet while people get loud. I lean both hands on the counter and breathe through the ache that wants a shortcut. There aren't any. I steady my hands. Anger clears my voice. Outside, the murmurs thin, then braid again into evening. Courthouse air tastes recycled. Delays travel faster than truth. I sit on a hard bench while the bailiff calls cases that all sound like other people's lives. Patrick stands with his lawyer at the defense table, chin high, suit that fits like a lie you rent. The judge enters. We rise, we sit, and the room takes our heat and cools it to procedure. State, the judge says. The ADA stands. Your Honor, this is a poisoning case with corroborated lab results, a contemporaneous utterance. Don't let her eat that. And procurement confirmation from the bakery. We're prepared to proceed. Plunge forward with a smile that wants to be civility. Your Honor, Before we let rumor harden into record, we note serious contamination concerns. The alleged items were bagged at home by a layperson with a known medical condition. There is also the issue of an embittered ex-spouse driving narrative. The judge looks down over his glasses. Contamination is a trial matter. What do you want today? A brief continuance, defense says, to secure independent testing and to review the supposed access footage, which, from our early look, could be anyone. The ADA lifts a hand. The chain holds. Intake photos show sealed bags at handoff. The witness who heard the defendant's line has signed. The bakery receipt ties procurement to the defendant's name. We can arraign. Defense tips his head toward me. The father here, who admits to diabetes, may have misperceived events in the stress of his birthday. His neighbor is a friend, not a neutral. We are asking for days, not months. The judge's eyes flick to Patrick. Sir, you will say nothing. Then to the ADA. How fast can the state produce discovery to defense? She says, we are ready. The wall clock over the flag hums a soft complaint. I don't read it. I let it sit there like weather. The judge says, voice flat. Short, Friday at 2, defendant remains at liberty under existing conditions. No contact with witnesses. Patrick swallows. The bravado leaks a visible inch. The judge adds, if I learn you uttered that line as alleged and you're testing doors at night, you're courting remand. Patrick's face and heals itself before most can see. I do. Defense nods. Thank you, Your Honor. The ADA doesn't sigh. She's too trained for that. But her pen stops moving for a beat. The bailiff says the words that release the room from caring. In the corridor, noise comes back as voices and shoes. Someone says my name like a question. Someone else says it like a headline. I step to the side where the air moves. Mariage appears with beers with defense at his shoulder. He smells like soap that wants to be money. Fix this, he says under his breath. You've made me the villain to strangers. Strangers listened, I say. I didn't make you anything. He leans in closer. You going to tell them you bagged cake in your kitchen like a crime lab? You going to tell them your sugar's off and your memory's worse? My memory doesn't need your permission, I say. Defense gives him a warning glance. He keeps going. Say you overreacted. Tell them the shout was about diet, not poison. Tell them you panicked. I won't edit the night to fit your story. He bares his teeth where a smile should be. You think you're strong because you have paper. Paper burns. I say, Dad, he says, almost a whisper now. Please. The word skids across concrete and doesn't land anywhere useful. No contact with witnesses, I remind him. That includes me. He jerks back like I slapped him. You're enjoying this. I shake my head. Delay isn't mercy, it's a meter running. Defense touches his sleeve. We're done. They move down the corridor together, the taller one steering. A cluster of sympathizers peels off the wall and follows like geese, soft voices, hard looks. Someone mutters, senile. Another says, weaponized paper. I let the words go by like lint in a vent. The ADA falls in beside me. Short hit, she says. We'll be ready Friday. Eat, sleep, do not engage. I can do 2 of those, I say. Take the right 2, she says, and heads for the stairs. I push through the glass doors into a pale sun. My phone vibrates once. No text, no voice. Just a calendar ping set for Friday, 2 p.m. It shines on the screen like a dare. I don't open it. I pocket the time and walk to the truck with my hands steady and my mouth closed. Courtrooms don't raise their voices. Evidence does. We file into the afternoon like it's been waiting on us. The judge settles. The gallery shifts, then stills. Kayla sits 2 rows back, hands folded tight, eyes on the table, not on him. The ADA stands. Sequence, Your Honor. Utterance, lab, procurement, access. She points without flourish. First witness. Jack takes the stand and swears like a man who knows the weight of a word. Where were you? The ADA asks. At the fence by Mr. O'Connor's lane. What did you hear? He keeps his voice clean. Patrick O'Connor yelled, don't let her eat that. Is there any doubt? No, Jack says. It was him. Defense rises with a smile that lost its polish overnight. You're friendly with Mr. O'Connor? We're neighbors, Jack says. So loyal. I'm accurate, Jack answers. The ADA nods him off, then turns to the screen. Exhibit 12. The room dims. A single frame frieze fills the wall, back door in gray, knob at the turn, a thin timestamp strip along the bottom line. No one reads it aloud. The stillness is louder than a clip. Captured from a Charger camera at Mr. O'Connor's home, the ADA says. Time matched to the detective's file. Access attempted within the window following the utterance and the lab result. Defense is quick. Anyone could be at a back door. Shadows make liars of pictures. Then let words speak, the ADA says. Lab confirmed toxin in the cake brought to the victim's table. Receipt from the bakery confirmed order and pickup under the defendant's name. And a sworn statement from the ex-spouse documents the pressure that preceded the event. She lets each noun land and move on. No extra numbers, no extra shine. Defense spreads his hands. This father bagged dessert in his kitchen like a hobby chemist. He has a medical condition. He admits to being upset. The ex-wife is embittered. The neighbor is his friend. The access image could be any man in a jacket. My client's shout, if made, was about diet, not danger. His glasses. And yet the diet resulted in a hospital visit and a lost pregnancy. Well, tragic, defense says softly, but not a crime. We ask for restraint. Legalize faces the bench. The state asks for remand pending trial. The defendant's words, the procurement, the lab, the access attempt, together they show intent and danger to the community. Punished if smaller photo sits to the side. For one beat, the knife appears there as a small labeled image, then lives quietly in the corner while the room breathes. Defense tries one more path. If anything happened, it was panic, not planned. The judge steeples his fingers. The gallery leans without moving. Mr. O'Connor Sr., he says, you've remained silent today. Anything you need to add? I came to let paper do the talking, I say. I'm done adding. He nods once, then turns to the table where my son sits. Mr. O'Connor Jr., stand. Patrick rises. His suit looks heavier now. I have before me an utterance heard by a neighbor, a lab confirmation, a bakery record, and an image of your father's back door at a very poor hour. You are presumed innocent, but you are not presumed safe. The court orders you remanded pending trial setting. The word lands like a latch. The bailiff moves. Metal whispers awake. Patrick's mouth works, then finds sound. Your Honor, please, I panicked. I was trying to stop her from eating rich food. I didn't mean. His voice shreds on the edge of that last word. The judge lifts a hand. Save it for trial. He says the next date out loud for the record and moves his pen. The gavel taps once, small and final. The gallery exhales. Kayla covers her face, then lowers her hands. Eyes wet and clear. She doesn't look away. The bailiff touches Patrick's elbow. He twists, searching the room until he finds me at the rail. For a breath, he is my boy again, not the man who learned to smile through debts. I'm sorry, he says, voice breaking. Dad, The cuffs catch his wrists. The sound is clean. I keep my voice low enough to hit, high enough to carry. That's your voice, not my pen. He closes his eyes like the line cut a rope. The bailiff guides him toward the door. Defense gathers papers without meeting mine. The ADA doesn't smile. She just nods once. The kind of nod reserved for weather vanes when they finally point true. Victory shouldn't taste sweet. It should read clean. I stand there, hands steady on the rail, while the room holds its breath around a word that can't be taken back. The house feels lighter, but law is heavier when it lands. Taggy set the folder on the table and look at the cooler one last time. The knife isn't mine anymore. It belongs to a chain with rules. My phone rings. Investigator's voice, tidy as a checklist. You logged a porch note, threat language? Bagged the night it appeared, I say. I haven't opened it since. Bring it to the window. We'll tag and log it to support no contact. The station's evening that's been handled by careful hands. I slide the sealed bag under the glass. She writes a short line on a form I don't read, peels an evidence tag, and presses it hard against the plastic, adhesive smoothing down with a quiet scrape. 1Q, enough. Thank you, she says. We'll move on a protective order. Deputy will loop you after service. I'll be home, I say. Back at the farm, dusk folds into the lane. A county SUV noses up to the gate. The deputy steps out, hat low, voice built to make news ordinary. Mr. O'Connor, service is complete. No contact in place. Applies to your person and witnesses. We posted a notice at the jail and delivered a copy to counsel. Appreciate it, I say. He glances down the road. We can mark your lane for extra patrols. Any pop-ins, call dispatch. Don't negotiate on your own. I'm done negotiating, I say. He nods once. Sleep in order. He's close to right. The phone buzzes as I walk back to the porch. Recorded voice rides the line. You have a call from an inmate at the county facility. I let it run to the beep. A breath I know fills the gap. Dad, please, just talk to me. Undermine my answer short and aimed at the recording. No contact. Talk to counsel. I hang up before the line can teach me to soften. On the table, the ledger waits. I write one line. Porch note tagged. Order served. The words sit still. They don't need me to explain them to tomorrow. Exhales. The fridge hums. On its door, the cards have become a museum of the week. Lab, police, detective, warranty, charging, arraignment. None of them ask to be read aloud. They just let the room know where it's been. The voicemail icon lights. Kayla, I need to talk about what comes next. Her voice is tired and honest. I let the message sit, unopened. Some calls deserve a better room than a kitchen at night. Step on some carry the last light like they always have. The field smells like rain that's thinking about it. Relief threads with grief, the boundary stays. A text from the investigator arrives. Order confirmed. If anyone contacts you, do not respond. Save and forward. I type 2 words back. Received. Understood. Then I put the phone face down and let the lane be quiet. Inside, I rinse a single mug and set it to dry. No speeches. No victory lap. The record speaks. I won't. Wildfire's house holds a quiet that doesn't ask permission. Patience beats panic. Justice reads cleaner than anger. And even a birthday cake can teach a man to wait his turn. I keep the boundary steady, let the record breathe, and turn out the kitchen light. The evidence drawer slides home. The bagged knife gives a soft, final rustle. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Type 1 if you resonate with this story.